That frog can't wear a hat.
Yeah.
Not in my America.
Not in America. Hello, good morning.
Oh, good morning, BBs. It's too early.
It sure is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan.
And ooh, it's a special day.
Yeah, we got a big trailer.
We got big trailer. We got big business news. You know we love a big business.
News. We don't love big businesses.
There's nothing we love more than a corporation.
Ooh, it's too early in their love of big business.
We legally personified corporations, but I can't kiss them?
Ridiculous.
Seems weird.
Foolish to me.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, good morning. How did you all spend your weekend?
I watched some of that new spring anime.
Oh.
You know that new spring anime season is upon us.
What'd you got? What you watching?
I would like to recommend to everybody Train to the End of the World.
Okay.
It is a show where the world activates the 7G network, which is supposed to let us communicate through thoughts, and it bends space-time.
Sounds awesome.
And changes the entire layout and physical properties of the world. And it's about 4 girls who take an abandoned train, a subway train,
okay,
to find their missing friend who's been gone for a couple years.
Okay.
Because once the world's like spread out,
yeah,
she was gone. And
okay.
She lives in a place that used to be 40 minutes away by train.
Okay.
But now it's like months.
Wow.
But they see proof that she's alive. And so they get on this abandoned subway train and try to find her. And every episode they stop at a different stop of the train.
Huh.
And
that
there's
sounds
like,
great.
Yeah, and there's like a weird sci-fi, strange, like fantasy thing at every stop.
Wow. Most of the time when you tell me what anime you're watching, it doesn't sound appealing to me.
Anime has not been super great over the last few seasons. There have been like a few good ones, but it's mostly been like isekais and like Mommy Step on Me.
Yeah, not my thing.
Yeah.
That sounds lovely,
Mommy
however.
Step on Me is sometimes your thing.
Well, not an anime.
Not an anime.
Other context. Don't ask. Yeah, I haven't watched any anime since I watched 2 Crunchyroll movies that really hurt my feelings. And then I really needed a break from that.
That's fair.
Yeah, it was those ones that came out where they did the 2 different releases of the same movie.
Oh, yeah.
Those really hurt my feelings. And I was like, I'm going to need a break. I'm going to emotionally need to protect myself for a little bit from anime.
Yes, that's fair.
That was To the Me That Loved You Before or something like that. I don't know, those ones. I spent all weekend watching Fallout.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Fallout. I'm
not finished with it. I am, I think I'm 5 out of 7 episodes, 4 out of 7 episodes, something like
8
that.
episodes.
But I love it.
God, it's so good.
It's such a good show.
It's so good. And I knew it was going to be good.
Yeah.
I needed, like we've talked about before, I needed a little space to quietly watch it without anybody being like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah.
I'm here now. I have 1 episode left. I'm savoring it. I literally got up to that last night and I was like, I cannot watch 1 more this evening. I simply need to save this for myself tomorrow. I'm hooked. I'm obsessed. I think it's incredible.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Listen, as you know, I've said it before, I am not the hugest Fallout guy.
Yeah.
I know a lot of Fallout lore because of just working in games for so long.
Sure.
But Fallout has never been the series that like I really dive into. So take that from what you will as somebody who's not a huge Fallout fan, but I freaking love the show.
And I land somewhere in the middle. So I'm a medium Fallout fan. I really enjoy Fallout, but I am not somebody who's going to be particularly precious about it or is like super lore heavily into Fallout.
Yeah.
But I really, really, really love this show and it's making me want to play the games more.
Yeah. I'm one of those people where if an adaptation makes changes, I'm okay with that as long as it's true to the spirit of the thing.
Yeah.
Obviously everybody has their precious special babies of fiction where they're like, please don't change anything about this.
Yes.
But
what is yours?
You know what mine is. It's unfortunately Superman.
Yeah.
I
get it.
It's unfortunately Superman. And of course we are heading full speed towards a Zelda television series, which or a movie, which like,
yeah,
really good.
Look, we're deep in mine. Mine's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
We're having complicated times for that to be mine.
Yeah, but I think if you make small changes or even medium to large changes, as long as they like make sense with the thing, I'm okay with it. And from what I know about Fallout, it seems like the changes that they've made are mostly like the sort of changes you make to keep the people who already know about it on their toes.
Yeah.
Because as much as people think they want an exact retelling of a story they already know, they don't.
Right.
It's fun to be surprised, everybody, every once in a while. I think a lot of people have forgotten that, that it's fun to be surprised every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff they changed, it just feels like they changed to make it work for television.
Yeah.
And all of that's good.
I think you have to, when you adapt something to a new medium, it is almost impossible not to change things. And to bend to the we're not allowed to change things when we switch mediums often makes a pretty bad show. Yeah. I think it has been a comfortable amount of faithful for me personally, but I would love to hear all of your thoughts on it, who are bigger Fallout fans than me. I think it has been faithful in what is most important, which is it captures the feeling of playing Fallout.
Yeah.
That is how I feel about any video game adaptation. That's what makes a good video game adaptation for me, is when I'm watching this, does it feel like playing the game? Is the character that you're watching, do you feel like, oh yeah, that was me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's interesting because I think the three main characters really encapsulate very well the three different ways people play a Bethesda game.
Absolutely.
You have your main character, Lucy, who is very much the way I play games like that, where it's like, I will be the good person in this universe.
I will be as polite as possible.
I am just trying to make everybody get along.
I don't even get why the mean dialogue options are there.
Yeah. I'm the person in a Bethesda game where when I use the super polite dialogue and it turns out to be mean in some way, I go, you tricked me.
I feel so bad.
You tricked me into that.
Yeah, because it shows you like a preview of it and then you get like the longer text and you're like, oh no, it was in a sassy tone.
Oh no, it was not supposed to be sassy.
I don't mean it's sassy.
Then you've got your Brotherhood of Steel guy who is the, I am the main character. So anything I do is justified because it needs to keep me being the main character.
Yeah.
And then the ghoul, Walter Goggins' character, is just, fuck you, it's an open world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do what I want.
Yeah, it's very interesting. They do have those kind of like three separations of moral alignment that are the way that people play characters. And I think that like, I don't know. I think it's very interesting because Maximus sits in this.
Maximus, not Thaddeus. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thaddeus is the other one.
Yeah. Maximus sits in this like strange area of like, oh, that is not a good guy.
No.
That is not a good guy. And he is like really messed up in a lot of ways. But you know, so many people play games like that where they're like, for the most part, I'm good until I do something really fucked up. And they're like, but I'm still a good guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm not.
Listen. Here's the thing. I'm a good guy, but if I had made that choice differently, I wouldn't have gotten the best sword in the game.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is. It's people who play to win.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's just
like,
people who play to win.
I know that I'm the good guy, and so I just need to make sure that I stay the main character because I need to be the main character because I'm the good guy.
Right.
And he is such an interesting character. And that act, I mean, listen, everyone in this show is brilliant.
Incredible. There's no weak spots on the performances.
The gentleman who is playing Maximus.
Incredible.
Crushes.
That's Aaron Moten.
Aaron Moten. Did you know that Ella Purnell, she's British?
Yes.
They'll trick you.
I did
She's
know
another
that.
one of those.
I knew that because she was in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
Yeah. She was not pretending to be British in that.
No.
She was British. She's American in the show.
Right.
But British in real.
Yeah.
She's one of those.
Sure.
And she's just a perfect actor. She's so funny. Everyone in this show is so funny, which is so important for Fallout.
When it's like almost unintentional, it is like they come across as unintentionally funny all the time. Which again, really captures the games.
Yeah, she is good at playing she's the straight man in the show, right?
Yes.
Like her thing is like, I am reacting to the world. I'm the most earnest thing. Yeah. And the vault that she comes from is so like the perfect thing. Like it's all so perfect. What I was really surprised by too, and this is what happens when you're a Nolan, I think.
Yeah.
Is so much of that show is practical.
Yeah.
that you wouldn't think is practical. And it's because they got that Amazon and I'm a Nolan brother money.
Yeah, that's a good combo.
The giant, there's that giant shot of her in the desert with like the wreckage, the derelict wreckage. That's real.
God.
They flew to a country all the way across the world in the middle of nowhere. There's just this wreckage of a ship, and they flew there to shoot there for one day. They were like, they were like, we get to do this once because we literally have to do it, turn around and leave because it takes so long to get here. Wow. Yeah. But they did it.
It has all looked incredible. The places where they are blending CGI is like almost undetectable. It is so smooth. It is so good. All of the
power armor looks so good.
Oh my God, the power armor looks so good. I think that all of the special effects makeup looks so good.
Dude, Walter Goggins is just straight up on screen close-ups at all times.
Yeah.
And he ain't got a nose, dog.
It's perfect.
All the ghouls look amazing.
Incredible. Unbelievable. It is. It's such a good show. There was something I wanted to point out that a Kodoroku said in the chat a few minutes ago, which was there's so many fun nods to the game mechanics. The best one, in my opinion, is how you never have more than 2 protagonists together at a time because you can't have more than one companion in the games. I think that's
so interesting.
Such an interesting catch on that. I wouldn't have thought of that, and I think that is very, very cool.
Oh yeah, that's really fun.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Because she is like kind of trading off as they move through it, and you see people run into each other.
Yeah, and even as the show swaps away from her focus, it's always focused on pairs of people.
Yeah,
that's fascinating. The number of people that like, there's some surprise cast that pops up.
Yeah,
that I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Mr. Handy, the Mr. Handy robot.
Matt Berry.
It's Matt Berry, dude. It's Matt Berry, and he's so perfect.
Yeah.
And I feel like somebody on the Fallout show saw Matt Berry in, I mean, like literally in anything, but also saw Matt Berry in the Boba Fett show. Yeah. And was like, this is so good, and people aren't going to care about this character in this show as much as they should. Let's make him that character again.
Double it and give it to the next one.
Yeah, oh my God. That whole scene is so funny. And it's got a couple of my favorite character actors in it in that particular part. It's such a brilliant show.
Yeah.
And they just got renewed for a season 2.
Yeah.
Which is exciting.
I'm so glad. I haven't gotten nearly enough of this yet. Like I said, I have that one more episode, and I'm not like having that panic at the end of like, how are you going to wrap this up? I'm just like, oh my God, I hope there is more, because obviously this will not be a completed story. It feels like a first season in a correct way, and I just want so much more of it. Yeah. There are definitely shows that you watch and you're like, this feels encompassed in this, and this feels like just the beginning of it to me.
The way that they tie all the characters into the entire continuity of Fallout, in small and large ways, has been so brilliant, and makes you really like want to see the continuation of this part of the story, because they really go in deep into the whole thing in ways that I did not expect.
They do. They go really in depth with the characters. It's fun to see the way that the characters kind of their realities crossed paths in the past, even if they were not even like alive at the same time necessarily. I think that's really cool. I think the way that they've explored a lot of the moral issues in Fallout is really cool, that there are no good guys. Like even in, our perfect protagonist, they've allowed it to maintain that she is good and comes from bad.
Yes.
They've allowed you to explore the like effects of all of these things, and like, hey, nobody's good in the wasteland. Yeah. It's so good. It's so incredly good. I want to be,
like,
we got a lot of people saying I want to be vault dwellers for Halloween.
Yeah. Same. I mean, that's the thing is like, even if you're the best person to come from the vault system, there's the entire question of, hey, is the vault system cool?
And the answer is no. And the answer is absolutely not. The answer was, the vault system is built on the ability to purchase safety.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. Somebody was like, I got to find a way to watch it. Listen, however you find, whatever way you find to watch it, we're with you. Hey, here's something that I will say. Amazon has started putting the ads before shows.
Yes.
And I did not, I don't watch a lot of Amazon originals.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, fuck that noise.
Yeah.
It really annoys me.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
It's really, really annoying.
Streaming services having ads is really annoying.
It was like, this show, when it started and it went, this show will be presented to you ad-free thanks to Samsung. I was like, I'm never buying another Samsung product again.
What do you mean ad-free thanks to ad?
Hey, thanks to this ad, there will be no ads. Fuck you. Fuck that company. Fuck that company. I will never buy it. I'll never buy Samsung again.
Yeah?
Never.
That's not true.
My TV is a Samsung and I wanted to throw it in the trash when that happened.
Yeah.
And then I'm 3 episodes in. I'm into it. I'm like, I'm really into the show. And then it's like, hey, by the way, here comes another dumb ad. And I'm just like, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
I pay you so much money every year. I pay you so much money every year.
Naragorn said it's before and sometimes in the middle of shows. Yeah,
Woof.
sometimes they do interrupt shows in the middle of it. So if it's not brought to you ad-free by Samsung, sometimes you get an ad right in the middle. And that's unfortunate. I also wanted to shout out Elpez saying, I loved all of the random world NPC interactions like Diaper Guy. It felt like someone you would find in game. There's so many NPCs in this game that are so NPCs that you interact with them and you're like, is this related to anything? Is this going to be something? And the answer is no.
Diaper Guy. Diaper Guy was so good. A lot of the people in the towns were like unbelievable.
Perfect NPCs.
Perfect NPCs. And you're right.
That's what I mean. It feels like a game.
And you're right. I was like, this person could either have a story that takes up 30 to 50% of this show, or they could be gone forever next scene.
Yeah.
And either way, it's fun and cool.
Yeah.
Because of the way they do the show. It reminds me of this thing that like Neil Gaiman says that he does. And he did it a lot during Sandman because he had no idea how long Sandman was going to go.
Yeah.
Or like what he was going to do with Sandman.
Yeah.
Because DC kept changing it on him. And so he was like, every issue, I would throw in some weird side thing that was happening.
Yeah.
That was like a funny goof on its own. And then just let it be a funny goof on its own. And then 10 issues later, if I needed to, those people would become main characters.
Great.
And that really feels a lot like this show and like Fallout in general.
Yeah. I also have to shout out Annabelle O'Hagan, who is playing Stephanie Harper, Lucy's best friend in the vault.
She's so good.
Damn, she is so good. She's giving me Anya from Buffy so hard.
I nearly thought when they first showed her, when they first showed her and she spoke, I was like, is that Emma Caulfield?
Yeah.
Is that Emma Caulfield? No, it's not.
She looks like Emma Caulfield.
She looks a lot like it. And the
she
character
also
has
performs like it.
Yeah, she has that like uptight Anya thing where
uptight, creepy depth to her.
Yeah, where like Anya first becomes human.
Yeah.
And she's still like, it's so good.
Giving it so hard. I absolutely love it. I think the show has been like pretty much perfect for me so far. I really don't have any complaints.
No.
I think it's been really, really wonderful. I feel like we've got a lot of positive things from the chat as well.
I made the mistake, unfortunately, though, of I was so into the show that I let the algorithm serve me an interview with the cast.
Okay.
Which totally, it was a great interview.
I was like, oh no.
No, the cast is wonderful. They seem like lovely people.
They seem so lovely.
The problem is, if you watch one video like that, unfortunately now my entire feed on every social network is like, hey, have you thought about Fallout in the last 5 seconds?
And I sure have, but let's do it.
Yeah, it's like, would you like to see the cast of Fallout? I don't know, sticking their hand in a box and guessing what's in there. Would you like to see the cast of Fallout?
Yeah, you get the whole press tour.
You get everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oof.
You had enough?
I don't like watching a lot of press stuff during when I'm watching a thing.
That's very fair. I tend to do it after.
Yes.
When I'm feeling the little hole in my heart of the show being over, I tend to enjoy things from the press tour of the cast giving interviews.
I like to go back.
I like taper out.
I like to watch the show and then go back and get sort of what they were thinking when they were making the show, who the people are, like that sort of thing.
I don't want it during either.
I literally don't want to know who you are or what you're into when you're playing a character in a show that I really love.
Yeah.
I know that some people are the opposite of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much like, I'm going to watch this entire show before I learn anything about you.
Yeah.
Because if I learn a single thing about you,
It might affect how much I enjoy the show.
yeah, you are no longer that character. You are a human being, and I need you to be that character for 3 more episodes.
Right.
That's all I need.
I haven't gotten any of that in my feed yet. Very
Ugh.
lucky. But now that you've said it with my phone in the room, I'm
That's
sure that I
right.
will.
That's how it works.
That's probably how it's going to work.
Mhm.
So now I'm going to be seeing it everywhere. And it's not my confirmation bias of that
Nope.
in any way. Hello?
Hello.
How's it going?
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was great until right then.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
mean,
honestly, speaking of which, something that we're not really diving into today, currently the TikTok ban is moving through another phase of our government in approval. Nothing has happened yet, but I feel like it is worth touching on.
yes.
There is still the possibility of it. There is a lot of things that can still happen. There is most likely something is going to happen, which will be negative in general. Now, there is still the possibility that it could not go through. It probably will. If and when it does go through, there is the possibility that, as a reminder, ByteDance does not have to sell TikTok as a whole.
yeah.
They would have to sell the American operations of TikTok
Which
to
is
operate
what-
within the US.
Yeah.
Which isn't
Which is what they want. Which is what these people over here want.
are hoping they will do.
Somebody, all of these richies that are sitting in the room,
Yeah.
that want like TikTok banned,
Mhm.
want it banned so they can potentially be the company that buys the American version of TikTok.
Yeah.
Like
It
it's
is in their best interest to have control over that sort of thing. We've shared many, many thoughts on
Mhm.
this on so many episodes in the
Yeah.
past. So we're not going to get too far into it. But in general, they see TikTok as probably just having too much influence and being able to be. It's not a fear of Chinese surveillance. That
No.
is entirely a xenophobic fear-mongering tactic.
No, it's a fear of good videos about little frogs.
It's for the most part a fear of a younger generation having direct communication with each other and existing somewhere outside of the American propaganda system that
And the
controls most
good
of our
little-
media.
And the good little frogs.
Yeah, the good little frog.
They hate when you watch a video with a good little frog in it.
They hate it.
If that frog's wearing a hat,
yeah,
they're like, fuck you.
yeah, absolutely.
That frog can't wear a hat.
yeah.
Not in my America.
Not in America.
Not in my America.
Not where we have freedom?
No. Hats are for people, American people.
Yeah.
And occasionally they're good patriotic dogs.
Yeah.
A frog in a hat? Get wrecked.
Yeah.
It's-
Alex, how do you feel about a frog in a hat? Good morning, Alex.
I adore a frog in a hat. And that is all I can see on my algorithm. Actually, Chappelle Rowan is all I can see on my algorithm right
Yeah.
now.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I feel probably equally about those two things.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's very fair, and I think that she would love that. I think
Yeah.
she'd feel good about being on the same level as a little frog in a hat.
Now, what if she was wearing a hat with a little frog on it?
I feel like she probably has. Have you now? Okay, wait.
I don't know
Over
because
on
it's
the
I don't know
Straits
because it's all Fallout for me right now.
Yeah. So you're over on the Straits TikTok. Are you getting any chapel?
Oh yeah, because remember, TikTok can't figure out whether I am
Mhm.
a straight elder millennial male
Uh-huh.
or
Mhm.
a 27-year-old bisexual femme.
Right.
TikTok can't tell.
TikTok doesn't know if you're you or me.
Yeah, TikTok is really like,
Yeah.
hey, buddy, pal,
Yeah.
you gotta figure out. You can't like both of these things.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how to give you both of these things.
Yeah.
And that's why America has to take it from us, is because we contain multitudes.
Considering that my entire feed is like really good keyboard builds and chapel, mine also doesn't know if I am an
Mhm.
elder millennial straight man or a 28-year-old bisexual femme.
Yeah.
So,
There's a lot going on.
yeah, the two sides of this coin are very confusing for us.
We
but-
are very deep people who lead very rich and complex lives.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to know about us.
And you know what else we are?
Hmm.
We're a sponsored show today.
Heyo!
Hey, thank you so much to Steve Jackson Games for sponsoring today. Today's episode is brought to you by the Munchkin Big Box. We're going to do a whole thing about it later. I just wanted to let you know because you'll be seeing a link popping up in chat. So I'm going to give a little nod to that right now. It's up on Backer Kit right now. If you're a Munchkin fan, this has so much stuff. We'll tell you all about it later, though. So thank you for making today's episode possible, friends. And we'll touch on that after some news.
That's right.
How about after the absolutely massive news, Deadpool and Wolverine trailer?
Dropped this morning, and I gotta tell you,
Uh-huh.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm one of those people where I can't tell. I'm much like TikTok
Mhm.
in this way. Sometimes I am confused by what I like.
Mhm.
As we've said before, I enjoy the Deadpool movies,
Yeah.
but I'm not a big Deadpool guy.
Yeah.
And it's not normally the tone of things that I enjoy,
Sure.
that sort of Deadpool, but man, this trailer's so good.
I am somebody who does not like Deadpool in theory and finds myself enjoying Deadpool in practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's what it is. When I think about Deadpool, I do not like Deadpool. When I watch the actual Deadpool movies, I'm like, these are fun movies. I like this.
Not just that, but like I am like, I don't like Deadpool. And then I'll read an episode, like I'll read an issue of like Spider-Man Deadpool.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, God damn, that was a funny comic.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
I think it's that fourth wall breaking, smarmy, sort of like edgy humor
Yeah.
is done so poorly by so many
Yes.
that you begin to associate that style of humor with the quality of most of it.
I agree. I think that is it.
And Deadpool has been, and the movies have been, the peak version of that, as Ryan Reynolds is sort of like the peak version of that in actor people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like every time there's like a Ryan Reynolds posts a weird branded video to his YouTube that's calculated to get 87 billion views.
Yeah.
I'm always like, I don't want to watch it. I don't care. He's advertising one of his companies again. And then I watch it. I go, God damn, Ryan Reynolds, that's so funny.
Yeah. You're really charming and funny.
You're really doing it.
Yeah.
You remember when he brought Rick Moranis out of retirement?
Yeah.
I'm just like, God damn it, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Infinite Corp said, we call that not liking the fans. I also think that is a big part of it. Obviously, Deadpool fans can be a lot. It's the thing that we run into with a lot of things that we want to like or do enjoy, but don't want to end up in the fandom on the internet.
It's like, there are a few of those things. We've talked particularly about Deadpool, about Rick and Morty, about The Punisher, where it's sort of like, I can enjoy these things.
Yeah.
I do not necessarily want to interface with somebody wearing that logo.
League of Legends, even.
A League of Legends.
Right.
But this trailer looks incredibly good.
Yeah.
This is, of course, multiversal.
Yeah.
We're not going to show a ton of the trailer.
Let's just show it on my screen so we can control it, so we can jump around a little bit. So we're not showing too much of it in, straight order.
And we can't do audio because, unfortunately, they, much like Deadpool normally does, they make really, really good and funny use of pop music.
Yeah.
This time there's some Madonna in there that we will be thrown into the sea.
Yeah.
But this is good. This shows the alternate version of Wolverine that we're meeting in this one, who seems like a mix between the X-Men movie Wolverine and Logan Wolverine, but not either.
Yeah.
We find out in the trailer that this is a Wolverine who somehow comes from a dead world that he didn't save and has like a lot of guilt about it. And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Because Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah. Hugh Jackman is also one of those people that I'm like, I'm not that into Hugh Jackman. And then I see Hugh Jackman in anything and I'm like, unfortunately, I am that into Hugh Jackman.
He's so good and talented.
He's so good and talented. And he's very attractive.
Yep.
When he's in something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not passively thinking of Hugh Jackman.
No.
And then I see him in something and I'm like, damn.
But then,
Hugh Jackman.
That's an image that I want to call out in particular because, Logan was about 50% of the comic series Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
It was the less wild, wacky part of Old Man Logan. Because Old Man Logan had a lot of weird stuff in it.
Yes.
But it looks like they are putting a lot of that weird stuff that wasn't in the Logan movie into the Deadpool movie. So we see the giant Ant-Man head that people are like living in, which is from Old Man Logan, the giant Ant-Man corpse in the desert, and the weird like old car that they drive through the desert. It looks good. And I think this will be an interesting way to, let's be honest, close out both of these characters and both of these people's involvement in Marvel in this way.
I think so too. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people are going to be particularly like concerned by that. It's
No.
not a gone too soon, but it's also not a gone too late.
Yeah.
Like this feels right.
Yeah. And I think there are people that are going to be disappointed probably that there's not going to be a Hugh Jackman Wolverine in the new X-Men movies, or that Deadpool cannot continue in the MCU.
Yes.
But Deadpool cannot continue in the MCU.
And neither can Hugh Jackman as Wolverine as we get an entirely new X-Men.
No.
We can't just keep hanging on to Hugh Jackman specifically.
I mean, look, as people who are familiar with the many X-Men timelines, there is a way to keep Hugh Jackman around.
It doesn't mean it's the best option.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. It's not the best way to go forward.
It's sort of, if you have Hugh Jackman hovering over the new X-Men movies, whoever is playing Logan next will not get a fair shot at being Logan.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I don't know if I actually don't know if that's true. I think that we could. I think we've had enough Hugh Jackman. And here's the thing. Because we got Logan, I think because we got Logan and that felt like such a closure for the character, it is strange to come back to this after and have this like little bit of a reopening of it.
Yes.
But like we have seen the full arc of Logan's story and we see him as older now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we don't see him as like, oh shit, Wolverine in the X-Men. We see him now as Logan in that like later tail end of his story.
Yeah,
so
like a Days of Future Past sort of like, you know.
But like, you know what I mean? All that beyond it. Like really, I do mean that like end of life hero.
Yes.
You know, I think we see him as that. So I think that there is room. I would feel totally open to and excited for a like young Wolverine with the X-Men and not feel like he needs to be compared to Hugh Jackman personally.
That's what I'm saying. And I think it's harder to do that if Hugh Jackman is still hanging out in the movies.
Oh, yes,
that's
absolutely.
what I mean.
Yeah.
If Hugh Jackman is still around, whoever is playing Logan has to be on screen. It's not like it was with Spider-Man.
Yes.
Spider-Man is the sort of thing where we are used to every 5 years we get a new Spider-Man.
Yeah.
To the point where at one point, like before Tom Holland, everybody was like, are we really doing Spider-Man again?
Yeah.
Wolverine has been Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman Wolverine, since the beginning of the modern superhero movie.
Yeah.
Since the first X-Men, which was 2001, 2000, something like that. So we have never known another Wolverine. So him going away is very important for the next Wolverine.
Yeah.
Deadpool cannot continue in the MCU simply because he'll break it.
Yeah.
He'll break it.
Yeah. And that's like, this is the hi, I'm breaking it of the movies, you know?
This is another one of those things we've been talking about. This is another part of that plan. Everything in the MCU is going to collapse down into one universe, one timeline.
Yeah.
We've been saying it for years. You can't keep a multiverse.
Right.
It's too confusing.
Yeah.
People don't like it.
Yeah.
Because people initially like it because all of their Glorbos get together.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course.
But after you get past all your Glorbos hanging out together, you're kind of like, well, wait a minute. If this guy dies, isn't there like 100 million of this guy?
There's no more consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stakes are so low.
Why don't we just jump to another universe
We'll just
about
grab
it?
another Gamora.
Yeah.
Throw in the lady pit and grab another.
Oh, did you want to see John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic? Sure, there he is.
Yeah, he's
but
around
now
somewhere.
you don't have to do it again.
Yeah. And I see people in the chat talking about a lot of things, but I see Skywalker saying, I don't think they should replace Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. No one's saying that.
No.
Nobody. We're saying no more Deadpool.
We're saying there can't be a Deadpool in the MCU.
We're saying no more Deadpool, not no more Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I think that this is probably the end of it. I think there is the possibility of tiny cameos, but I think this is the last Deadpool anything.
Listen, they gave Howard the Duck a featured cameo.
Yeah, I think we have cameos.
There can be more Deadpool.
I think there will be Deadpool cameos.
What
I just
there
don't think
can't
there's another Deadpool movie.
No, what there can't be in the MCU is a character that turns to the audience and says something.
And acknowledges that they are in a movie.
Yes.
Like not just breaks the fourth wall a little bit, but like breaks it in a way that they know about the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Can you imagine the next Captain America movie where they're trying to be serious and gritty and bring back the feeling of Civil War in a universe where Deadpool can turn to the camera and make fun of Captain America?
Yeah.
it's a fun idea. In execution, it ruins your universe. And that's one of the things that I love about what they've been doing with Loki and with the idea of the multiverse stuff, where it's like, we're collapsing these timelines.
Yeah.
You can't have 80 Spider-Mans.
Yeah. Brenda said, what about She-Hulk? Now, I think She-Hulk does so in a different way. She-Hulk feels like she's aware that she's in a little bit of like a sitcom, but she is not aware of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No.
Which is totally different types of fourth wall breaks.
Yeah, she does not see beyond the veil like Wade does. But also, another thing to remember is like, we're probably not getting any more She-Hulk either, which fucking sucks.
I mean,
she could show up in things, but we're not going to get another season of She-Hulk. And the way She-Hulk works when she's in other comics, is she doesn't turn to the camera like that.
Right. She bends to the rules of that world when she's in it. Because that isn't her thing.
It's not her shtick.
Like, it's a thing she does, but she can exist without it, and Deadpool kind of can't.
Yeah. That's Deadpool's entire thing.
Yeah.
She can just be a character in somebody else's story.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see. I'm excited to see. I love that Ryan Reynolds was just able to call up his best bud, Hugh Jackman, and be like, listen, I just need you to be Wolverine again. I know you said you were never going to be Wolverine again.
Yeah.
Can you just come and be Wolverine again real quick? Thank you.
And he was like, okay, for you.
Well, and I think the thing that's interesting about it is the promise that he doesn't have to play the same Wolverine.
Yeah.
Because I think for Hugh Jackman as an actor and somebody who wound up towards the end, like producing all of these Wolverine movies, right? Like he had his hands in the creation of all of them, the creative direction of it. He felt like he had done everything with that character.
Yeah.
And so to be like, this is just, you do a movie with me because we're best friends and it's a different version of that. Don't worry. We're not touching any of the things that you did.
Yeah. Because
Hugh Jackman also seems to be one of those people who loves to have the two different careers. The very famous serious actor, Broadway triple threat man.
Yeah.
And then the silly man who makes fun of himself and shows up on cartoons as like a weird drugged out version of himself.
Sure.
Like he likes both of those things.
Yeah. He likes to be the greatest showman.
He's kind of the greatest showman. In a way.
Yeah.
He really was the greatest showman.
Yeah. At the end of the day.
So I'm more excited for this than I thought I was.
I am too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I think it goes in that same loop where people talk about it and I'm like, okay. And then I watch the trailer and I'm like, ooh.
I'm telling you, if you're one of those people that's like sitting out there right now and going like, I don't even know if I want this, you're going to watch that trailer and you're going to go, they fucking.
They got me.
Reynolds.
Ooh, they got me.
Jackman.
All right.
All right.
All right. You got me. I'm in. That's fine. You know what? Let's talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about the Knuckles Paramount Plus show.
Which is apparently, according to all accounts,
yeah,
one of the oddest things to ever happen.
Yeah.
But every review I've read of the Knuckles show says, boy, this show's weird.
Now, one of the weird things is apparently it's really not about Knuckles.
Yeah, he's apparently barely in it, which I think is what we call the Idris Elba loophole.
Yeah.
Idris Elba signed up for a lot of Sonic and was like, how do I contractually give you exactly the amount of Sonic that I'm legally obligated to?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make my life the Knuckles show.
Sure. And I was so surprised when they announced they were doing the Knuckles show. I was like, is it Idris Elba? Like, are they getting Idris Elba to do a whole show as Knuckles?
Are they getting Ken Penders to write it? Is it going to be the saga of the Echidna?
It's just apparently Idris Elba as Knuckles, only like a fraction of the show. Like just a little bit.
We've sort of seen this with some of these like licensed streaming shows where like we talked a lot about how the Book of Boba Fett was really like sort of a Boba Fett show.
Yeah.
It was like sort of about Boba Fett, but not really.
It started as a Boba Fett show and it just took a break from being a Boba Fett show right in the middle.
Every once in a while it was like, and here's your friend Boba Fett. And then it would be like, would you like to know more about these weird teens, these weird scooter teens who are kind of robots?
And you're like, yeah. And then they're like, well, would you like a couple episodes of The Mandalorian in the middle?
Yeah.
And you're like, Okay.
All right.
Sure. I mean, I like The Mandalorian.
What are we doing? What if we introduced one of the major Star Wars crime syndicates you've been waiting for in a way that's barely connected to Boba Fett? Okay. Sure.
I'm interested. I'm confused, but I'm interested.
So, and I mean, some of the Marvel shows have been like that too, where it's like, and here's somebody who's here for half of the show.
Yeah.
So this is sort of a thing that streamers are doing.
I guess.
But it seems weird to do it in a Knuckles show for kids and families.
Right. So here's from Kotaku. This says, the imbalance between Knuckles and Wade's screen time becomes so stark by the latter half of the season that I scrubbed back through all 6 episodes to break down by the minutes and seconds how much Knuckles is actually in this show. And folks, Elba is providing voice work for roughly 76 minutes and 47 seconds of a 172-minute long season.
So Wade, if you don't remember, because I did not remember, Wade is Donut Cop.
Yeah.
Wade is James Marsden.
Yeah.
I forgot his name was Wade, if I ever knew it.
And
so it's a story about Wade and his family?
In a bowling tournament? Wade's kind of doing some bowling.
Oh my God, it's a Knuckles family sitcom.
Yeah.
What?
In addition to that, they say that is just all of the scenes that Knuckles is in, and that does not count for whether or not he's actually contributing to the scene in a meaningful way, which in many scenes, Knuckles is there, but it is really not about Knuckles.
I've seen clips of like, there's stuff going on, and Knuckles is trying an Oculus Quest in the background. Like literally Knuckles is just in the background, like learning of like playing VR for the first time.
It's so funny.
And like other shit is
which
going
is
on.
so not Knuckles vibe. Like you could say that about Sonic and you'd be like, sure.
Can I tell
but
you?
But it's Knuckles.
But here's the thing, Saige.
Uh-huh.
I'm more interested in the show now.
I'm intrigued, yeah.
When I was like, oh, it's a Knuckles show and it's going to be about Knuckles adjusting to Earth and like maybe he's got to protect a Chaos Emerald.
Sure.
They're gonna delve into his past on Angel Island.
Yeah.
All this stuff. What? No.
Yeah.
Instead, it's Knuckles goes to the bowling alley with his friends.
Yeah. I don't know if I really want to watch a show about like a comic relief cop. I generally am not a fan of such things.
No, but I'll watch James Marsden in just about anything.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that? Did you watch the Jury Duty show?
No.
Fucking wild.
Huh.
Do you know the conceit of the show?
No.
Because I didn't for a while, and that's why I didn't watch it.
Uh-uh.
One person on this show
Mhm.
is a real person who thinks they are on jury duty.
Oh,
Everyone
I have
else-
heard this. Yeah.
Everyone else is an actor or a comedian that is playing a role.
Yeah.
And one of the people is James Marsden being James Marsden.
Yeah.
And is like, when they find out that the guy who's on this jury doesn't really know who James Marsden is,
Yeah.
they turn that into a bit where James Marsden is this egotistical actor who keeps trying to explain who he is to this guy on the
That's
jury.
great.
And they're like, he's like whispering to this guy during court, like, yeah, I was in Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, it's a good show.
That's very funny. that man needed therapy after. That's
Wait,
so funny.
Wade is not James Marsden. Wade is the other cop.
Oh.
Wade is the Adam Pally cop.
Wow. We went for a long time on this without looking at chat and realizing that you were totally wrong about who it was, and I just believed you.
I just thought that Wade was the cop.
Yeah.
They said Wade is the comic relief cop. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's James Marsden.
Yeah.
No, it's even less than Marsden.
Yeah.
We're sub Marsden. And I don't mean to be disrespectful towards Adam Pally, who is a funny guy who has been in a lot of stuff.
Okay.
But holy shit.
Huh.
James Marsden is in the show. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not about him. It's about Adam Pally. Does Knuckles wind up living with Adam Pally instead of with James Marsden? Why wouldn't he live with Sonic and Tails and all of? Why does Knuckles wind? Now I have to see this show.
It's only 6 episodes, so
What
they
if I
got you. They did it.
What if I stopped watching Fallout and watched Knuckles?
You only have 3 episodes left.
I know, but now I just need to go. I need to watch Knuckles. What if I never go back to Fallout?
You probably won't if you stop.
I know.
I know you well enough that if you stop with 3 episodes left, you're never finishing that show, Anthony.
And then I wind up being somebody with complete knowledge of the Knuckles Paramount Plus show and only partial knowledge of the Fallout series, one of the best shows in recent television history.
You say that like it's ridiculous, but that's the most Anthony thing I've ever heard.
No.
You do this all the time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Don't act like, what if I did that? That's what you do.
No, I know. But like, what if it happens this time?
It probably will.
It's Adam Pally, Saige.
Yeah.
I forgot Adam Pally was in the Sonic movies.
Now,
I forgot there was a second cop.
Now, Skywalker threw out an idea.
It makes sense because they always travel in twos like the Sith.
Yes, of course.
There's always a cop and a cop apprentice.
Right.
That's
Yeah. Skywalker threw out an idea, which is a Knuckles Patreon review.
Sure. I'll be ready for it tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah,
6 episodes.
I've already given up on Fallout.
We have things to do today, Anthony.
I know. It fell out of my head already. I'm done.
Well, we were going to get work done today, but I guess that's out the window. I don't know. Maybe. If you start watching it and you say it's worth watching, we'll do a Patreon review.
Yeah, sure.
If it's worth watching, we'll do a Patreon
Even if
review.
it's not worth watching, I'll do a Patreon review.
If it's so bad that it becomes back around to worth watching
I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's going to be
so weird.
I think it's going to be a perfectly mid show.
That'd be a bummer.
I think it's going to be a perfectly mid show. And
I
the
hate
only
a
thing
mid-show.
that's going to be weird about it is how little Knuckles is in it.
Interesting.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
I believe this is
I don't want a
full-on
mid-show.
Adam Pally sitcom.
I want a really good show or a really bad show.
Mm-hmm.
No middle sliders.
That's right. It's just like, that's right, Snako.
Mhm.
It's just like the cops in Fallout. The cops in Fallout are always 2 at a time because you only get a cop and a companion.
Exactly. Anthony, we didn't prepare to talk about this, but I do want to talk about something really quick while we're talking about shows and streaming services and stuff.
I'm all read up on this.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I watched the video and everything.
Yeah, so you've been seeing the stuff about Watcher, and I would love to talk with everybody about this because it's very interesting. As somebody who was not actively watching the Watcher channel,
Who watches the Watcher?
Watchmen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew where we were going.
Quis custodiet ipsos custodes.
Watcher, for those who are not familiar, was formed from 3 ex-BuzzFeed employees doing BuzzFeed Unsolved previously.
That's right. This was the BuzzFeed True Crime channel.
Yeah. Split off on their own.
And they became Watcher. It was the 2 of them were the hosts and writers. And then one of them, Steven, was a big producer at BuzzFeed. He's the guy that started Worth It.
Yeah.
And he left BuzzFeed with them to start Watcher. And for the past few years, they've been doing ghost content, true crime content, weird history content, that sort of thing. And they've been pretty popular with it. They're a pretty big channel.
They are. So with that, they took a lot of the formats that they were doing on BuzzFeed and they did kind of adapt it into their own channel. But yeah, for the most part, they've been doing that essentially a little more paranormal than true crime, a little more like...
They've been trying to get away from the true crime stuff. They talked about that. Like a lot of true crime creators, they're sort of like, what is the line between documentarian and exploitation?
Yeah.
So they've been focusing more on weird history and ghost hunting and things like that. And they make really well-produced shows.
They absolutely do.
Their ghost hunting shows, I think, are better produced than, any of the 19 ghost hunting shows that cable put on over the last decade.
They have 2.8 million subscribers on YouTube. They also have been running a very successful Patreon, currently at 13,000 members. Now, remember when you're looking at somebody's Patreon, that does not mean those are all paid members. Since Patreon integrated free memberships, usually those are about at least like 30% of somebody's following on Patreon, essentially. When somebody cancels their Patreon subscription, they automatically become a free member.
Yeah.
So it changed the dynamic of that a lot. So we don't know how many of those people are paid members.
I heard the free members secretly control society.
Yep.
And I heard that on a video on Watcher.
Yeah, that makes sense. Their membership tiers range between $5 and $100 a month on Patreon.
What do you get for $100?
For $100 a month, you get a signed Watcher Society membership card, monthly AMAs with Team Watcher members, exclusive members-only merch, and the stuff from the other tiers.
Okay.
So with that, the reason that they have popped up in the news is because they posted a video saying, we're leaving YouTube. Goodbye, YouTube. Now, this is the most ex-BuzzFeed employee thing on the planet because everybody who left BuzzFeed kicked off their channel by saying, why I left BuzzFeed. And it was a huge success for all of these channels that did it. Everybody who left BuzzFeed that made a why I left BuzzFeed, immediate million subscribers.
Yeah, because BuzzFeed was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Everybody was like fascinated by BuzzFeed for, God, almost 10 years BuzzFeed. And when people would leave, because every BuzzFeed video was like a gajillion views.
Yeah.
People had their favorite BuzzFeed hosts. And when they left, people were like, oh, what happened? What was the behind the scenes drama? And usually it was just like, I decided to start my own thing.
Yeah.
But they had to do why I left BuzzFeed with like one of these faces. Like,
and they
crushed. They crushed.
And I, as somebody who never watched BuzzFeed videos, always watched a why I left BuzzFeed video.
Oh, I watched all of them.
I gotta know why you left BuzzFeed. I didn't even know you were at BuzzFeed, but tell me all about it, fam.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even watch enough BuzzFeed to know who you are.
Yeah.
The ones that I love is like why I got rejected from BuzzFeed. Like those started coming. It's like people who almost got jobs at BuzzFeed and then didn't, and they would talk about the process.
Yeah.
And that would just their channels as well. But anyway,
Try Guys left BuzzFeed.
Oh, yeah.
Sophia Nygaard left BuzzFeed.
Oh, yeah.
All of them had this massive Kickstarter, and most of these people started producing incredibly high quality content.
Oh, yeah. Sophia
went on their own.
Sophia will just like spend $18,000 on product for a video.
Yeah, and her videos are just money printing machines.
They really are.
Like a video can't flop.
No.
Nothing she could do could ever flop.
But Watcher apparently sort of. Watcher did not flop, but Watcher was not sustainable according to the Why We're Leaving YouTube video.
Yes.
It says it's goodbye YouTube, and they've got the serious, earnest faces, and you're like, okay, this is clickbait. And then you click on it, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
They talk about why to make the kind of content they want to make. YouTube, the margins of money on YouTube are not enough.
So their solution is launching their own streaming service. That's coming in at $5.99 a month to watch their content. This is totally separate from their Patreon, and they say they will no longer be uploading the shows that you know and love that are already existing on Watcher to YouTube, and instead will be behind this paywall.
Yeah. So, and I was kind of confused even though I watched the video. It sounds like most of the library content, like their old YouTube videos, are staying on YouTube.
Yeah. Why would they want to stop monetizing the backlog?
Well, it's sort of like if you really want people to follow you, do you take all of that content?
Yeah.
You know, the Disney Plus thing.
Sure.
Do we start removing our stuff from other places so you follow us to Disney Plus?
Well, as somebody who has worked for a large legacy channel or two, I can say confidently that most of these channels actually make the majority of their income on their backlog, not on their new videos.
Oh, yeah.
Videos that are like channels that you know that are big and have been around on YouTube for a minute are making the majority of their operating costs on their backlog of videos every day, making more money than their current videos.
Oh, there are networks that I was a part of 10 years ago. My videos are still getting served up as related videos because I was like, I found out who one of the current owner of one of my shows is, and I was like, hey, you're not doing anything with this. Can I have the IP? Like, what would it take? And they're like, and they showed me a spreadsheet. They're like, actually, we're making money off of this.
Shit.
And I was like, damn. I think of it as Geek and Sundry is very good about that. Revision 3 was one of the ones that I'm talking about, where their videos still come up. The one that I think of that does it the best right now, one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah.
If you watch one Linus Tech Tip video, you will be served nothing but Linus Tech because they've done a video a day every day for the last 10 years. And if you have your YouTube set to autoplay related,
I'm having that right now with Jarvis Johnson.
Yep.
I just started watching Jarvis Johnson's second channel.
Jarvis Johnson Gold.
Jarvis Johnson Gold. It
gold.
plays well in the background.
It is free, but it is premium.
Gold, I've been playing videos in the background because it is exactly that, where it'll just keep going. It's endless and it will just keep playing more, and they all have the same feeling, so I don't have to shift gears.
They get that money whether you're paying attention or not.
And I've watched 2 years of videos this week.
So I understand why Watcher would not want to pull their library content. But also, at the same time, what are you putting on this SVOD network that I want to watch. Like,
Yes.
because you have 4 years, you haven't been around that long.
Mhm.
You have 4 or 5 years of library content. And if
Yeah.
that stays on YouTube
Right.
and all your new stuff goes on your
Mhm.
paid channel, your
So you're
network.
paying $6 a month for the new videos as they come out.
Right. Well, what do I do after I'm done watching your 3 new videos?
So that's the thing. There's a few things that I think are not factored into a decision like this, where people are like, oh, okay, well, we make really good content. We're making TV quality, right? So people should pay TV prices. What they're not factoring is people don't go to YouTube to watch Watcher. They go to YouTube to watch something, and Watcher might be in their subscription feed for the most part.
Yeah.
People use their apps that they use because they're looking for content. It's very rare that somebody is seeking your content specifically.
The average, like if you
On
look,
YouTube.
Yeah, if you look at the number of subscribers on a channel,
Mhm.
the rule of thumb used to be
Mhm.
about 10% of those people really, really care.
Yes.
10% of those people are true fans. The other 90% have watched a certain amount of videos or click subscribe and
Yeah.
like, and as YouTube has been deprioritizing subscriptions,
It's more about your suggested
Yeah,
feed.
it gets harder and harder to really count how many of those subs
Mhm.
are actual, like, real deep fans of Watcher.
Absolutely. And the other thing that they didn't factor in here, because you see things like this and you're like, oh, they want to do a dropout, right? So if we named something that is digital creators that launched a successful streaming service, Dropout is the example of it, right? They maintain a massive library of content with different shows on it. And what Watcher didn't do is announce, hey, we make this one show that's TV quality right now.
Yeah.
If we launched a streaming service, we could make more of them. What they
They-
said instead
Yeah.
is, if you want to keep enjoying the content we're already giving you that you're used to getting for free, you have to pay now.
It's a PBS pledge drive instead of the launch of a new thing.
Correct.
And what's interesting is, like, and I think somebody in the live studio audience here touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
They did why we left BuzzFeed. They did goodbye YouTube because that's what they know.
That's what I said, yeah.
But the problem is you don't do a sad goodbye when you're launching something new. You do an exciting, here's what we're doing.
Exactly. It came across to a lot of people as entitled, as money hungry because of it. Even though I really don't believe that this step actually is for a lot of people, it is kind of unsustainable to produce television quality for YouTube. There is like an understandable thing there. But the difference is what you're saying is we've been doing it for free. We have not prepared you in any way that you have to pay for this content. All of a sudden, you're going to have to. They didn't
And
treat
it's-
it like this is a free trial. We're
Yeah.
going to try this on YouTube and eventually you're going to have to pay for it.
No.
What they've been doing is making it for years, and now all of a sudden it's too expensive to make.
Sure. And they're doing it in a way where it's like, it's so sad that that YouTube is like this and YouTube is making us do this.
Right.
Which, like, if
is
you're
not a relatable feeling for your viewers, so they're
No.
not going to feel bad for you.
they're trying to do like the goodbye thing, and like you have in the middle of it, you have like Steven does this like really sad, like almost crying, like 2 of the 3 of them almost break into tears, which like cannot be. If
you
it
can't
is
cry in a money video.
well, if it is real, if it is legitimate, is so fucked up from an emotional and psychological perspective that I'm more worried about them than I
Yeah.
am worried about Watcher or wanting to know.
You can't cry in the give us money video. You can't cry in the we're not making enough money on YouTube video, so please give us more money video. You can't.
What they needed to do,
Can't.
because they tried to do why we left BuzzFeed, but nobody kicked them out of YouTube.
Correct.
That's the thing. The tone of the sad, well, we
Yes.
had to make a change because the big bad, I mean, even Dropout, Dropout had that too, right? Dropout had the From the Ashes of College Humor,
Yes.
which we tried for years to save and we
Yep.
couldn't. One person, Sam, was able to buy all of this stuff,
Yep.
was able to get the company to sign it over, and we have one more chance to make the stuff that you love.
Yeah.
This is not what's going on Watcher.
Right.
Watcher, they were like, it's so sad that there isn't enough money on YouTube. Like, yeah, dude, it's sad. I would imagine that like a quarter of the people under 25 in the world these days have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
they have some sort of social presence. They know that you don't get paid a lot on YouTube.
Yes.
So when you say, well, we don't get paid a lot, everybody goes, us either, dude.
Yeah.
What you needed to do was sit down and be like, YouTube isn't enough.
Mhm.
We want to give you more.
Yep.
Here's what we're going to give you. This is the stuff that we keep making, and we're going to keep making it.
Yes.
We can make it better
Mhm.
if you come with us to help. And
Yes.
here's the exciting things you're going to do. How do you launch a network
Mhm.
without having a full slate of shows to announce?
Nope. They announced nothing new. And again, you can't do it from the angle of like, feel bad for us, so we have to launch this network.
Also,
That's a really just bad, like, I can't believe that they didn't sit down with a PR company that was like, don't fucking do it like this. Build hype around it.
no, this felt like the three of them in a room
Yeah.
deciding on how to do this,
Yeah.
maybe with one business person, and the business person was just like, SVODs make money,
Yeah.
which is not true.
Right. Well,
Some of them can,
some of them can.
but most of them do not.
Correct.
So like, this does not feel like something that was planned particularly well.
Yeah.
This feels like if I had, and this is just me speculating,
Mhm.
they had 25 employees.
Yeah.
On a YouTube network that made like 4 shows.
With only 2 million subscribers.
Of course, that's not sustainable.
Yeah. That's way too big of a staff. And
Of
it's
course
very
that's not sustainable.
strange. Like, it's just,
But
it's one of those things where it's like, oh, well, they came from a bigger company and nobody wanted to wear multiple hats.
sure. But here's the second part of that.
Yeah.
They had 25 people to only make 4 shows.
Mhm.
They were focusing on, in a very like film student-y sort of way,
Mhm.
or you had 3 chief creative officers and no executive business,
Right.
finance. I think literally the reason they are announcing this now
Yeah.
is they fucking ran out of money quicker than they thought.
Yeah.
I think they're supporting 25 employees.
Mhm.
I think that they were like, oh, we should figure out how to start that streaming network soon.
Yeah.
And then they just kept losing money, and they were like, oh, well, we got to start it next week.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think that honestly, marketing could have done everything for this. I think people wouldn't be upset about it if instead it could have been like, hi, we're a network that wanted to hire up a bunch of people. We're providing jobs for them. This is something we want to be able to continue doing. So let's give them more shit to make. Like, we have these people that contribute so wonderfully to our company. Like, we hired up so that we can make more stuff and that we can do all of these things. But the problem is you can't get people with, well, our shows are expensive to make, because
Yeah.
people actually don't care on YouTube if something is expensive to make.
I don't care.
They don't care
if,
about production value.
I don't care if anything anybody makes is
Mhm.
expensive.
Yeah.
I would say make something cheaper.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, and like, as
and I do
people-
care about creatives. And I
Right.
do care about like, I say that as somebody who like watches stuff
Mhm.
or consumes content or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. When somebody that I don't know is
Mhm.
like, man, this is hard and expensive. It's just like I said earlier. I go, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sorry. What do you want? I'm supposed to do something about it.
Right. It's kind of the thing that it's like, I was literally talking about this last week. I posted a video on socials about it that was like, just because you want something to exist, you can't do the opposite of supply and demand. You can't do supply side economics and be
Mhm.
like, well, these games are so expensive to make, so now we have to charge this much for this game. It's like, well, why did you spend so much on that game? A game doesn't have to cost that much to make.
Yeah, I actually don't need that.
I don't
I-
want you to make a $300 million budget anything.
Yeah.
So like, stop putting that on the customers. This is like the YouTube scale of that, where they were like, we really, really upped our overhead in a way that we now expect you to pay for.
Right.
And Patreon subscribers don't get access to the streaming content.
That's a big
So
mistake.
you already have people paying up to $100 a month, and they are not talking about sunsetting their Patreon, moving to that and saying, hey, nobody's going to pay $100 a month. Everybody pays $5.99 a month, and then we
Nope.
can make this. They're not saying anything about sunsetting their Patreon. They're talking about running that in tandem. They haven't said anything about it, so we assume.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything about it yet. So
there was a lot of like stuff that was not concrete that they
Mhm.
did not address.
Yeah.
I mean, you would at least hope that anybody who supports them on Patreon for over $5 a month would get access to the streaming service
Yeah.
immediately.
absolutely.
You would also expect, if you have 25 people,
Mhm.
with 25 people,
Mhm.
I mean, I've worked at companies where the media like obviously there are more than 25 people.
Yeah.
But the individual channels, everything we did for Star Wars.
Yeah.
For Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, the multi-billion-dollar media franchise Star Wars.
Yeah.
There were 7 of us.
Mhm.
For all that video content.
Yeah.
For all of Star Wars.
Right.
So clearly, they are not making use of those 25 people. If I was going to make that announcement that they made,
Yeah.
I would not say goodbye to YouTube because YouTube is free advertising and free money for your back catalog.
Right.
What I would say is we're going to keep making stuff on YouTube.
Mhm.
Here's the stuff that's going to be premium. Maybe it's premium for a month on the streaming service. Maybe it's premium for 6 months. Maybe it's forever.
Yeah.
But you got to figure that out.
Mhm.
And then what are these 25 people doing?
Yes.
Because between the 25 people, you should have a slate of shows
Yes.
on your streaming service, and those should be for your big fancy shows.
Yeah.
But you came from BuzzFeed. That's your thing. BuzzFeed was about working in the Zay Frank mines, where Zay Frank said, you must make a quirky video 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And it has to get at least 1 million views, or you'll be thrown into the sea. So you can do it.
Yeah.
Why aren't those people making you daily videos that then push people to this streaming service?
Yeah.
What is this plan that y'all have other than we've been doing this for a while and we don't really want to work hard anymore?
Yeah.
Which is what it reads like to me.
And it does read that way. And we don't know these people personally, so I can't speak to that. I also see there's been a very unequal blame on this, which is definitely coming from a very parasocial place of being like, oh, well, the one person, because they're the CEO, they're to blame for this. It's his greed. It's all this one person. This is absolutely a decision that those 3 people most definitely made together. I'm not going to speak for the other people that are just employees of the company, but like just because you have a parasocial relationship with 2 of the people that you like on camera and they come across as not the money people and one person comes across as the money person, this is absolutely a decision that they all had to make together, and there is no unequal blame in that.
Yeah, the CEO walks into a room. Remember that the CEO is hired by the owners.
Yes.
In a company that is not publicly traded, the CEO, I mean, even in a company that is publicly traded, the CEO is just a hired position.
Yes.
Which means your 2 buddies who you love so much on camera hired that person. And when that person comes to them and says, we need to do this, they go, oh, okay.
Right. So
Then that's-
Stephen Lim is the person that they're primarily being like, this is clearly Stephen's idea. If you go to the comments on that video, you can see it's like, well, it looks like the other 2 are uncomfortable in this. I'm like, that's not how anything works. This is a company. And
you can tell, like, you can see that one of them, at the very least, feels uncomfortable with either asking for money or being in the video or sharing his feelings. There's something about it that's making him uncomfortable.
We don't know these people because it's this. We don't know them.
Yeah, he just comes off awkward.
Yeah,
but you can't read into it why he's awkward. It's the tall one. The tall one seemed awkward.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know these people. I think it's very interesting. I think that this whole thing has been strange. And at first, I saw the backlash, and I was like, "Now hold on. If they're making a really high quality thing, and they're going to make more high quality things." I do think that there is room in this world for more things like Dropout. And then I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this is nothing like that, unfortunately. No. I wish that it was. I really do. I think that creator-owned streaming services is not an impossibility. I think that there is room for that to exist. And I think that Dropout should be paving a way for people doing so in a way that provides value and treats their employees well. Yeah. And yet,
we need more things like Dropout and like Means TV that are literally made by the creatives.
Yeah.
And are at least partially, if not owned, controlled by the creatives.
Yeah.
And people, if you're working outside of the traditional media system, you better be getting something you want out of it.
Yeah.
And you better be making some good stuff. I don't know.
I'm curious to see what happens next. There have been no updates from them. There's been no like walking back or trying to explain better or trying to take a better marketing approach to this.
I bet they're all hands right now trying to craft that message.
They have to be. They have to be finally hiring a PR team, I hope, to try and save this.
Or maybe the 3 of them will sit in a room and disrupt their way out of it the same way they disrupted their way into it. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Very curious to see, but that has been everywhere right now. I do want to take a minute to pay the bills at the studio.
Yes.
And let's talk about the sponsor of today's episode, shall we? Today's episode is brought to you by Steve Jackson Games. Y'all know Munchkin?
I love Munchkin.
You've probably played Munchkin.
Munchkin's so good.
But what you haven't played yet is the Munchkin Big Box. This is for somebody, if you've played it with friends and you don't maybe own your own copy of it, right? And you've looked around and you're like, there's so many versions of Munchkin.
Mhm.
What do I get? Where do I start?
What if you started and got pretty much all the Munchkin?
I think that's it. Instead of being like, well, how many different expansions do I need?
Yeah.
What do I need to get? You can get everything in one box. There's a bunch of fun perks right now because it is on Backer Kit. They have things like enamel pins and loaded dies and like other fun little kind of merchy things. But what you also get is a bunch of the cool expansions for Munchkin to make the game really, really full for all of your game nights. And you should absolutely check it out right now. They are already crushing it on Backer Kit right now. Let's see what they're at the moment. They are already at $640,000 out of a $75,000 goal, which is also one of those things too, when you're backing something, it is nice to jump in when you're like, it's funded, it's happening,
Yeah.
I'm getting this game. This is 25 years of Munchkin basically in one box.
Mhm.
It's a very fun, classic game night kind of party game that is easy for people to pick up.
Yeah.
I think it sits in that place where if you're somebody that loves role-playing games, it is a fun board game that you can inject role-playing into but don't have to.
Yeah.
I really feel like it depends on who you play with, how
Sure.
Munchkin plays.
And it's easy, like it's very easy to pick up. It's the sort of thing where
Yeah.
if you are at a party and 3 of 4 people know how to play Munchkin, you're easy.
set.
You're good.
You're
Even if
so
one
set.
of 4 people knows how to play Munchkin, you're good. Some of the special stuff that you get with this is really interesting. They are re-releasing some cards that were just promo cards.
Yeah.
So there are 20 cards that were just kind of like promo giveaway cards. Like you had to be in an event or you had to be at the right place in the right time because they were just giving them away.
Yeah.
Now those limited cards are coming back as part of the big box, which is very fun. They're also adding wooden meeples, which is
I
number
love.
1, my favorite 60s band. And number 2, it replaces the cardboard or the what is the name of the good cardboard? There's an official name for the good cardboard.
I don't know the official name of the good
But
cardboard.
you know what I'm talking
You're used to
about.
getting the little cardboard standees.
Yeah, like the MDF or whatever they are.
Yeah.
You get the wooden standees instead, which I think is lovely.
Yeah. In this, you get 650 cards.
I think that's enough cards.
That's wild.
I think it's almost enough cards.
That's absolutely bananas. There's going to be some that you've never seen before. There's going to be new boards, new standees, other great little items. As the campaign goes on, there unlocks more and more stuff from it too. That's one of the fun things about when they do these as like crowdfunding goals. It allows them to add more to the game as they go on. With how well they're doing right now, I imagine there's going to be a lot of really, really cool stuff here.
Yeah.
The wooden meeples, for instance, was just activated at the $500,000 mark. So
Yeah.
otherwise, you wouldn't have gotten to have that special perk.
As well as Backer Kit exclusive Munchkin dice tray. They added a patch. They added a challenge coin. All the feelies.
All the little tactile
I like when I get
feelies.
feelies
Yeah.
with a thing, you know?
I love a tactile feely. Is it going to be great? It's one of those things, again, where it's like I was in the position where I've played Munchkin a million times, but I actually didn't own a physical copy of my own Munchkin because there's always somebody in the friend group who has it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just count on somebody's going to have Munchkin.
It's one of those games where you open up your own game cabinet and you're surprised if you don't
Yeah.
have Munchkin. 'Cause
Right.
You're like, I thought I had Munchkin.
So if you are one of those people, go ahead and check it out. The link is in the chat popping up right now if you're watching on YouTube. It is in the description below. Thank you once again to Steve Jackson Games for that sponsorship. And we just appreciate you making a little show like this possible. Let's
Thank
get
you.
back to the news.
Let's see. For news, there is some news of the Embraced that I think we have to touch on.
Shall we business? I
Let's-
feel like we touched on a little bit of business as we got into Watcher.
Good business, everyone.
Now, our qualifications should be listed in any business discussions.
Mhm.
I, of course, passed the bar in the state of Virginia.
And I got my MBA on the streets. So we want to talk about, this is the official greeting of accountants everywhere.
Accountants, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
MBAs and CPAs.
Uh-huh.
This is what we do. Listen, everybody shut up because the Embracer group
Uh-huh.
that's made a lot of good decisions and is doing super well, continues to do super well
Yeah.
as they split into 3 different companies. The Embracer group is, listen, I hate to say it,
Mm-hmm.
they are splitting themselves into different artifacts So they're going to be unkillable.
Yeah.
And there is a book reference that we would have made for that about a decade ago, but fuck that book reference.
No, instead make the Buffy the special glove thing. I already made this reference once this week
The
on another
Buffy
stream.
special glove.
The glove that
The
Angel
glove.
has to get that has to be separated into a bunch of different parts all over the world because it would be too powerful if anybody had them all together.
I forgot that particular MacGuffin, but okay.
Okay.
But I love this. So basically, Embracer in a desperate move to stay solvent, really,
Yeah.
has split into 3 different companies.
Mhm.
One of them is Asmodee Games is going to be their own thing now.
Yeah.
Then Coffee Stain and Friends
Mhm.
will be one of their gaming things. And then Middle-earth Enterprises and Friends.
And friends to everything.
This is like companies for people who hang out in a McDonald's play place? I don't understand.
Guess. I don't get the and friends.
Hey.
Like, you don't have to say that.
Also, you don't have any friends, Embracer.
No.
You do not have a friend.
You can't buy the things you bought are not your friends.
You can't buy friends. I learned that from every movie I watched growing up.
Exactly.
That will backfire.
So this is very interesting because I think too, like, if you think of Asmodee on its own, Asmodee in itself is a monolith of games.
Well, and
most board games, you walk around,
Yeah.
you go, oh, who makes this? A company, but actually Asmodee.
But actually
and
Asmodee.
then you go, wait, actually Embracer?
yeah. So
I thought I got to the top at Asmodee, but up to Embracer?
that's right. And above Embracer, only God. So Asmodee, the reason for all this splitting up happening is because Asmodee is the part of Embracer that is doing extremely well.
Yeah.
Asmodee is crushing out of all of their different divisions. They had to split these companies into different companies and arrange them in such ways that those different companies could get money.
Yeah.
So Asmodee on its own, these board game companies that are now tabletop companies that have been made into this one company are getting a $956 million loan. And you would imagine that loan could not have happened if a bunch of the other stuff from Embracer that was not doing well was still attached to them as a business.
Right.
Now everything is still attached. This is
Yeah.
just one of those weird legal things that money people do to make it look like they can have more money.
Yeah.
There's no...
We call that a loophole.
That's a bit of a loophole. It's like the good cardboard, but a loophole.
Yeah.
So Asmodee gets $956 million. These other companies are sort of being split up into, we think these companies could make us money,
Yeah.
and these companies will make us money.
Yeah.
So one of these gaming companies really feels like it could be jettisoned at any time, and that's Coffee Stain and Friends.
Yeah.
So the way this works is that Middle-earth and Friends now contains things like Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah. That's
like,
the and friends.
yeah.
Can you guess what the Middle Earth is?
Yeah, the and Friends is like Lara Croft
Yeah.
and 2K.
Yeah.
You know, like, or the stuff that they make with 2K.
I can't
like,
believe that's and friends.
it's wild. So yeah, it's very interesting. So
Fascinating.
the way it's going to work is that Coffee Stain and Friends is focused on a variety of games for PC, console, and mobile, which makes them different than Middle-earth and Friends, I guess. Now, when it comes to those studios, we're talking about Coffee Stain, which are the people that make Goat Simulator or publish Goat Simulator.
yeah.
THQ Nordic, as well as companies like Ghost Shipped, Tarsier, Tuxedo Labs. They're basically in charge of stuff like Deep Rock Galactic, Star Trek Online, Teardown, and the upcoming Epic Mickey.
Okay.
We just got a shock
An
gasp.
audible gasp from Alex.
I didn't know who was responsible.
Yeah, so it's not under Disney. It's not under an owned Disney game studio. They don't really
Right.
have those anymore.
But Asmodee makes a ton of the Disney board games. So Embracer's been doing Disney.
oh yeah,
And been doing, I will say, been doing really well for Disney.
oh sure, they're crushing. Middle-earth Enterprises and Friends.
Yeah.
That's what they consider their AAA powerhouse studios. So that's going to be the people that own like Lord of the Rings, Metro, Tomb Raider, That's Crystal Dynamics, Dam Buster Studios, Eidos Montreal, Dark Horse. You forgot that they bought Dark Horse,
Can't
didn't you?
forget it. We talked about it when they bought it.
The statement about this just sounds like somebody who's been sleep deprived and not making sense for a long time.
The time is right for Embracer to become 3 public companies, each boasting sufficient scale, coherent strategies, specialized business models, and empowered by visionary leadership teams. The CEO, Lars Wingefors, it took me a minute to read that one,
Bless
wrote in a letter jettisoning the company, sole strategy up to this point, saying, okay, well, it was bad when we were all one, but now that we are 3 that is also one, more
Yes.
money.
Yeah. You've all seen Power Rangers. It's 3.
Yeah.
And then when you turn into 1.
Yeah. But it's kind of the opposite because it's actually 1. It's secretly 1. It looks like 3, but secretly 1.
So it's kids in a trench coat trying to get into a
Yes,
movie.
There you go.
Okay.
That's what it is. As opposed to the Power Rangers that are like, when we put our power together, us 3 separate people, we make one powerful thing. This is one powerful thing masquerading as 3. What's interesting to me also in this is, now I'm not an expert on the stock market.
Sure.
But when they say specifically become 3 public companies, I do anticipate that there's probably a ton of money in that.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
probably a whole lot of money in this loophole of getting 3 publicly traded companies.
So the loan is just one part of it. It's Asmodee is the only division where if it was spun out on its own, people would give it money. Because remember, their video game companies, well, they had to shutter and sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
So nobody wants to give them money for those right now.
Right.
But splitting them into 3 also separates their stock price and value.
Yeah.
So the Asmodee stock can continue to rise, number go up, while the other companies are not really doing
They're
as
not
well.
bringing things down.
Yeah, so they won't lower the stock value. Now they can make more imaginary money, which is the only money that matters right now.
Right.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah.
There was I can't even find it, but there was a statement about why the companies needed to be 3 companies. And it was just the most wild double talking bullshit I ever heard.
I don't care.
It was like, oh, it may seem like they're similar, but they're actually different in, and it's just like, dude, shut up. We know
Yeah, I
what you're
don't
doing.
care.
We don't care. And you don't have any friends, and it doesn't matter how you name your company.
No matter how many times you say "and friends," it doesn't make us believe you.
So there you go. Board games, doing great.
Yeah.
Video games, not as well.
Which is
Put all
very
your money into
interesting.
board games.
Which is so interesting because the board games industry has so much less money than video games.
Oh, the
It's
margins
just
are
the
ridiculous.
margins. It's just the margins. It's ridiculous. It's so interesting.
When I talk to game designers and developers on the tabletop side, and they are talking to me about the manufacturing costs and the differences and like the way they shave half a penny or a penny off the costs of a board game.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between a board game getting published and not published.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. Listen, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
It's going to be good for everyone. It can't be bad for anyone.
We did tease it in the intro, so we do got to get to it before we
Yes.
go really quick, which is, Discord's doing something a little bit interesting.
Loot boxes?
No, not this time.
Oh, okay.
Nor view botting.
Okay.
This time, it's more back into the illegal news.
Oh.
Please keep your business hat on.
That's my business sound. Do I know what business is?
I would argue that's one type of business.
Okay.
I'd argue that's serious business.
Mhm.
If you hear something like that, that is serious
That's
business.
serious business. You get out of there.
Yeah.
You get out of there. If it makes a noise like that, that's bigger than your thumb.
Yeah. I would also say, if you do that in a courtroom,
Yeah.
yeah, depending on which side of this you're on, may or may not go well.
Discord would like to put into and has put into their user license agreement that you cannot sue them for anything you must go through arbitration. If you don't know what that is, that means if Discord fucks up really bad, legally they say that you can't take them to court.
Yeah.
You have to go to a little room where somebody sits in between you and Discord and they go, well, Discord, are you sorry? And Discord goes, yeah. And they go, well, what will you give them? And Discord goes, literally almost nothing.
Like maybe like a little money.
Like,
I don't know.
Like, but probably like, nothing though.
Or like, is the sorry enough?
What if we gave you 2 sorries? Basically, you have to go through an arbitration, which is Discord will appoint somebody to decide how much Discord wronged you.
Yeah.
This is something that a lot of companies try to sneak into their legal agreements.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, arbitration agreements are binding.
Yeah.
Unlike non-disclosures, which you can usually fight, arbitration you can't really fight because that's an agreement between 2 parties to not go to court.
Right.
Whether you realize you're making that agreement or not, you have signed a paper that says, it's okay, I don't need to go to court.
Right.
And that's legal somehow.
Now, and you might think, well, okay, what are the benefits of this for Discord and the harm for you? Obviously, the benefits are Discord doesn't have to go to court with people. But in addition to that, arbitration is usually private, whereas taking them to court is usually public, which means if they did do something really fucked up and you did start legal action against them, people don't even have to know about it.
Court records people can look up.
Yeah.
They are public. They are not as easy to find as they should be, but you can find them.
Yes.
Arbitration is done in a secret space.
Yep.
In a quiet little secret spot.
So based on what's laid out in the terms of service, they would say any disputes between the user and Discord would be handled privately in meetings with the company.
They say through thumb wrestling.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever seen, but the CEO of Discord, freakishly huge thumbs.
Massive thumbs.
Like they're like 2.5 feet long.
Right.
He's like,
doing this shit.
Yeah, he's always doing this.
Yeah,
it's a power move.
And they say that he's allowed to move his elbow too.
Which is fucked.
Which is like
you're not supposed to be allowed to
move
do
your
that.
Elbow.
This was a write-up on Polygon by Simone de Rochefort, friend of the show, who discussed this and said, and said like, hey, there is an email address that you can actually send an email to. This went into effect on the 15th, but you have 30 days from the 15th to send an email to arbitration-opt-out@discord.com and say, absolutely not.
No, thank you. Pass for me.
And then if Discord ever wrongs you in any way, you can take them to court. Listen, as an individual user,
the likelihood that you were ever going to sue Discord was very low.
It was very, very
but
low.
Never zero.
It's not zero though.
Saffron asked, but what litigation is Discord expecting to happen? It's not really about that. It's not that like something's on the horizon and it is just protecting themselves. It is some lawyer had an idea of like, hey, this would protect us in this specific way. And everybody was like, sure, we believe you lawyers, do it. That's usually how these things go. Another example of this in the Polygon article is McDonald's actually put this into their TOS for their app last fall. So there are tons of companies doing this. I bet you have entered into so many terms of service agreements that have this in it, most likely.
You're in arbitration with so many companies.
So many companies. That is specifically for the McDonald's app. And I also wanted to say, because they're talking about the McDonald's app with that, Hank Green on his own YouTube channel has been doing a stellar and absolutely fascinating breakdown of like fast food costs versus value.
Yeah.
It has been so interesting, like down to caloric intake of what people could afford and what they're getting for it.
It's been
they talked all about the McDonald's app. I didn't know anything about it until that.
Yeah, it's been wild to watch. And I think one of the things that was that kicked that off was the argument that McDonald's got into about literally paying people.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, can they afford to pay people? And what are people getting out of this? And it turns out we are getting very little out of fast food, but they can't afford to pay people.
Yep.
So yeah, opt out of this. Opt out. And if you ever hear about this, if any company ever pops up any screen on any app that says anything about arbitration that you see, look for it, because they usually have to, if it's not something that you sign, they have to give you a certain amount of time to opt out.
Yeah. Which, like, on the other hand, too, like, we also understand that everybody is not reading every terms of service that they enter into.
Yeah, sure.
And it's one of those things where it's like,
I'm saying if you see it.
If you see it, 100%.
If you
I'm
see
just
it.
like, that's the point of these things. The point of these things is they know people aren't going to read it, and they know it'll most likely never come up, and it'll come up once, but
Yeah.
it'll come up for such a small portion that people won't care enough to read it. So
Listen,
it's hard.
The
These
cost
things
of putting
are-
it into your terms of service versus the cost of one person suing you for something big once,
yeah,
you make your money.
Yeah.
That's why they do it.
it's very interesting. It is definitely concerning on a larger scale than Discord, in my opinion. I'm not surprised. I'm not like, how could Discord? It seems like
No.
what companies are doing. Discord, as a reminder, is not your friend. They're a big tech company.
I think
Companies aren't your friend.
I think this is going to end up being something like, I mean, I would hope so, but
Mhm.
I would hope that this turns out being something like end user license agreements where a court basically said, these are not enforceable.
Yeah.
However, since a court said that, the wheels of justice have moved and the wheels of society, at least in America, have moved in a direction where I don't know if this will go away or this
I'm
will be seen
curious.
as something that has to go away. But it feels like
It sure
the
should.
number of screens that get popped up to us by companies every day should not be allowed for this to happen.
No.
But
That's all the show we have time for.
that's it.
Pardon me.
But that's it.
But that's it,
But
everybody.
that's it, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube and you enjoyed, be sure to like the video. Leave a comment. I'd love to know what you thought of the Fallout series. I'd also love to know, what is your franchise that you're so protective of?
That's right.
What is your thing that people could almost never succeed at giving you another adaptation of?
And if you are watching on YouTube, click on that thumbs up and pretend that you have freakishly large thumbs like the Discord CEO.
Yeah. One
can
like
pretend.
equals one beating the Discord CEO in a thumb wrestle.
That's right. Hey, we do want to thank everybody that has been watching us live and supporting us. So we're going to do that in just a moment. But first, Saige, what are you up to? What's going on with you?
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Not Saige. I stream on my channel Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And right now I am playing through the backlog of the weirdest Sims games.
Love it. Love it. You can find me everywhere online at Carboni, except for on Twitch, where I'm at Anthony Carboni. Twitch, you cowards, it's mine. Give it back to me. And my science comedy podcast, We Have Concerns, with Jeff Kanata.
How about Alex?
Hello, I am Alex. You can find me on the internet on Twitter at Alder_Mancy or my website, alexteplitz.com. That's
Woo.
me.
All right, everybody. We are going to thank everyone who supported us live during the show today. This is also a reminder, you can listen to this in podcast form. You can join the Discord. It's totally free to do so. We appreciate that. I also, we updated the Patreon. There's a ton of new stuff on the Patreon. Patreon.com/Pixel Circus. You get a bonus clip on Friday. You get a bunch of new stuff. There's new physical items. There's new shows. Lots of new stuff that's good, and you should check it out. And we appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming and watching today, and we will see you on Friday, BBs.